and welcome to the Pick and Roll podcast. And today I've got a good one for you guys. Basically, it's the same old here. We're going to break down full games. The games that we're going to break down this week are USC versus Colorado. Isaiah Collier did not play in that game. I think he's out until like sometime in February. Some hand injury, so we weren't able to scout him. But Brownie James did play, Kobe Johnson did play, and Colorado had a healthy Cody Williams, Tristan Da Silva, two guys that are really high-level draft picks. Both you can make the argument both of them could be first-round draft picks, so really big game there broken down. The next game that we broke down is UConn versus Creighton. Finally got to break down a full game of Stephon Castle when he's really looking healthy. Try to get a feel for what he is. Donovan Clingan, as fun as always. I mean, there's so much fun breaking down Donovan Clingan. Defensive menace to the society. He's amazing. Creighton has Trey Alexander, who's been on NBA draft talks for as long as I can think of. He's a first, a second rounder. Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's a lot of people have just barely missing their mock drafts or, really low on them. Next game we broke down was Duke versus Notre Dame. Jared McCain, Tyrese Proctor, Kyle Filipowski had a really good game as well. He's going to be really fun to break down. And a guy from Notre Dame. So there is a 6'10 power forward named Kerry Booth. That's a freak athlete, which is the main reason why I wanted to watch this game against Duke. Get a feel for what his skill set was. Next game up was Oklahoma, where Jalen Moore played. I've broken him down before. I definitely feel like he is at least a second-round draft pick based on my last time breakdown. And a guy that I did see in the Big 12 that I thought would be good enough to try to scout would be Raekwon Battle. He had a great start after coming from his injuries. 6'5" shooting guard will break him down as well. And out of the French, every week somebody from France will be scouted and broken down here. And this week we got Melvin Hincia. Melvin Hincia was the guy that I watched and broke down. I'm very high on him, and man, was it fun watching him play. I cannot wait till you guys definitely want to hear that Melvin Hincia breakdown because, man, I definitely feel like he's special. So we're going to go ahead and kick it to the first game, which is USC versus Colorado. We obviously got Brownie James. Everybody wants to talk about Brownie James. That was one of the worst. That was a really bad game, honestly. I don't even think Brownie James scored a single point, and Isaiah Collier wasn't in the game. It was a really bad game. Defensively, he looked worse than he did in the last game I scouted him. There wasn't a ton of really interesting shot creation. Because of the heart issue that he dealt with, I'm still not going to rush to judge him completely about this game. But, we'll scout him some more. If it keeps on trending this way where the game is so poor, then my big board of him being a late first-round draft pick is going to plummet. His shooting splits aren't that good right now. He's averaging 5.9 points per game, 2.2 assists, 38% free goal percentage, 25% three-point percentage, and 64% free throw percentage. Again, he's got a lot of intriguing gifts at that 6'3", 6'4" height, the two-guard position where he's strong, athletic. But, yeah, it's going to come down to some time to see how good he really is and consistency-wise of what he can be, because the heart issue, you just don't know what percentage he's at right now. So I'll give him this game as like a benefit of the doubt game. So he's going to stay where he's at, but if I keep on seeing more games like this, it's unreasonable to keep him late first, because that was not a late first-round draft pick in this game against Colorado. That was a guy who was not going to be drafted, if I have to be completely blunt. All right, going to go ahead and kick it to the next guy from USC. That's noteworthy. Kobe Johnson. He's a very good defender at 6'6", really long guy. The issue has always been three-point shot shooting. Right now, he has 11.6 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 37% field goal percentage, and he's shooting 28% three-point percentage, which is really the issue. I mean, that's not good enough for the NBA. So right now, I still have him undrafted. I personally still don't think, I could definitely see a summer league team picking him up and giving him a shot there, but as an NBA draftable prospect, no, not until the three-point shot develops. But he did have a good game defensively. I mean, he's really good on ball, really smooth, has a good feel for things. Yeah, so averages 2.2 steals a game. That's pretty nice. So yeah, Kobe Johnson's good enough defensively to be drafted, but offensively is what's holding him back. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and kick it to the Colorado side of things. Cody Williams, 6'8". Right now, he's averaging 15.1 points per game, 1.9 assists. Let's see here. 58% field goal percentage, 67% free throw percentage, 50% three-point percentage, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's still a extremely high-tier role player is the way I defined him. I mean, he's got really good length. He's really smooth on ball. His length, he's got a really long wingspan, just like his brother did. His brother also was the Oklahoma City Thunder's starting two guard, Jalen Williams. His brother had like a 7'2" wingspan. I'd put him in the range of 7'3", 7'4", because he's 6'8". But his really long arms, moves really well defensively, really fluid. He guards on ball very well. He did a really good job defensively in that game. He's still somebody that can definitely drive to the rim well and be a very good standstill three-point shooter. The only shot creation that he really has is the floater. I think I've seen the floater enough to say it's not just a really raw shot and say more it's a shot in his game that's very makeable and translatable to the NBA. So, he only has three areas that he can score from. It's either on the catch and shoot three-point shot, but he's so good and long and lengthy and good at driving to the rim. He could go to the rim after catching the ball, and he either finishes at the rim where he's very good at drawing fouls, or he hits you with a floater if you're way too committed to guarding the rim and you're going to give him space like that. So those are the three areas that he can score from. It's not somebody that has enough tough shot creation skill set to be a high-level scorer, but, 18, 17, 16, 15 in the flow of an offense kind of guy, sure. He's also a point forward. He's still, I think the 1.9 assist point per game don't speak how good of a passer he is. He's a very good passer. So he's a point forward, small forward guy that's a good defender. He's just going to be such an extremely high-level role player in the NBA where he won't be the person that wins you a basketball game, but he's somebody that can make your team better. Like, he's not going to make you lose games as well. I guess the best way to explain it is, like, he's a team first basketball player. His style is very much a winning basketball player, and very much like a third to fourth best player in an NBA championship team. But there will never be a single second where Cody Williams can't impact a basketball game effectively because he has such a high floor. And, because of that, he can be a very good starter in the NBA, but he's not going to, be the person that's going to be the best player on his team. But he'll be a really good piece that leads to winning. Kind of like Draymond Green, where he's a very good winning basketball piece. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I'm trying to describe it. Cody Williams can be a guy like that, where he really can lead to winning, but it's going to be more than what the stat sheet shows. But again, there's a limitation on how much he can truly impact a basketball game. That's limiting his upside, and that's why I still have him graded 6 through 8 draft pick. I still definitely feel like he's in that range. So yeah, Cody Williams, very interesting high floor draft pick. Tristan Da Silva is the next player to break down. He's 6'9" from Colorado. He is averaging 15.9 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1.1 steals, 50% field goal percentage, 83% free throw percentage, and 37% three-point percentage. So yeah, I mean, this guy's a below average athlete, but he's 6'9", and he's really long, and he moves well enough to guard the wing position in the NBA. He's still such a standstill three-point shooter. There's nothing else other than being a standstill three-point shooter. Now, he did do some off-ball screen movement where he's the shooter in those situations. Really, it was really intriguing. The same kind of stuff that you see J.J. Redick, Klay Thompsons of the world, Ray Allens of the world do. It was a nice, interesting wrinkle into his skill set, which makes him intriguing. So I still have him graded 26 through 30 in the NBA draft. I feel like it's very realistic for him to be a long-term role player in the NBA off the bench. All right, let's go ahead and kick it to the next game. That's going to be UConn versus Creighton. And let's break down the guy that everybody wants to talk about, the hot name from UConn. It's Stephon Castle. He's had that injury with his hand or his ankle or something like that. Maybe it was a knee injury. Held about for like a month, and people were like, okay, well, let's give him some time to get back into the flow of things. Let's see how he's doing after a few games. Well, he's played 13 games so far, and he's averaging 9.4 points per game, off of 4.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.2 steals, averaging 45% field goal percentage, 71% free throw percentage, and 20% three-point percentage. So, really interesting guy. Stephon Castle's 6'6", extremely strong, well-built. He's a good passer. Is he like an overwhelming, amazing passer? No. But he's good, and he's good for the point guard position. He'd be above average if I had to title him something. The best thing he does is defend. The man's so strong and so smooth defensively. He can really get on people. It's a little Lonzo Ballish on how elite he is guarding the point guard position. He is the real deal defensively. Dude can really defend. The 20% three-point percentage, let's just start there, is abysmal. That is extremely low. You know what I mean? Like 26, 27% is really, 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 really bad. But if we start talking 28, 29, 30, I'm like, okay, it's really, really bad, but there's still a chance of him getting there. There's still a thought process that maybe, and that's a thought process that people have with Nikola Topic, because he shoots 28% from the 3-point line in his league. But 20% is at the point in time where, like, will he ever be able to shoot the 3-point shot in the NBA is a question. And, at UConn, everybody guards him like the way Ben Simmons is guarded in the NBA. They give him a ton of space. So he isn't shooting 20% off these tough shots. No, he is wide open. They don't even contest his 3-point shots. He's shooting practice shots. Like, you're in warm-ups and you're getting ready for the game and it's open, and he's shooting 20% in those situations. That's really, really bad. That's really bad. Because if it was shooting tough 3-point shots, if somebody was shooting 16%, a few percentage points below that, that'd be like an equalness of as good of a shooter. You know what I mean? Like, the best way to put it is if a guy shoots tough shots and shoots 32% from the 3-point line, and another guy shoots wide open 3-point shots, and they shoot 36, 37%. They shoot about equal because of the toughness of the shots. Is the best way to explain that difference. So for him to be shooting 20% on extremely high quality looks is an extreme issue, okay? Because when he gets guarded like Ben Simmons, then it takes away his driving ability because the dude is 6'6", strong, smooth. In the pick and roll, if he could shoot a 3, he could get to the rim whenever he wants to. Right? It's seriously good. He's elite at that. But he doesn't get in those situations because people are guarding him like they do Ben Simmons in the NBA. They are letting him shoot. They're not even really guarding him. And you know what I mean? And on top of that, another issue is you can't even make the argument that, well, his 3-point shot is not that good, but the mid-range shot, man, that looks really smooth. No, the mid-range shot's really bad. Like, he was on the right side of the court, and he missed so bad to the right that it made it look like he was trying to bank the shot in when he wasn't at an angle to bank the shot in. You know what I mean? Like, his mid-range shot looks really bad, too. So, where is he going to shoot from? Like, there's just no NBA level scoring skill at all here. And that is an extreme issue. Extreme issue. People who are 6'6" don't exist. The only guy that does that is Ben Simmons, but he's 6'10", freaky athlete, right? Like, and, he doesn't do it as well as he used to because of all the mental stuff, but, like, he had Ben Simmons gifts. Ben Simmons was comp to LeBron James. That's how gifted Ben Simmons is physically. And trust me, Stephon Castle's gifted. But 6'6" that can't shoot anything does not exist in the NBA at point guard. And that is the real issue. But the intrigue is just so high. This is such a tough scout, such a tough, breakdown and understanding of what his game can really be. The shot just looks so broke. One thing that I listened to JJ Redick about that I definitely feel like was correct is good shooters either they shot it a little too far or it's a little too short, but they don't miss left or right. Right? And I definitely think it's like an accuracy thing there. And he misses left or right. It's left, it's right, it's off the backboard. It's really bad. That jump shot looks broken, and he can blame nobody else but himself. And there's nobody else that can be blamed for his broke jump shot. And it's just so tough because he's so intriguing because he has so many gifts. Dude has top 5 pick gifts. He has top 5 pick gifts. Easy. Yeah, but dude gets guarded like Ben Simmons in college basketball. That's just not a good sign because the NBA is going to do the exact same thing. This is a guy that it is an extreme boom or bust draft pick. In a few years, he could be out of the NBA. In a few years, he could be the best player in the basketball team. But it's like 70% chance that he's out of the NBA. It's just so far away. It's really tough. Really, really, really tough. If I'm Stephon Castle, I'm staying in college. Hope, but I don't think I have a feeling he'll go out. Right now, I have him graded as a 26 through 30 draft pick. It's tough, though. I could see him falling more on the draft board if these shooting splits stay the same, which, as bad as his jump shot looks, I don't expect it to get much better. You're not going to be able to improve that much in a few months. I'd be amazed. So, yeah, right now I have him graded 26 through 30. If these shooting splits don't improve massively, then he's not going to move any higher than he is. He can only move lower on my big board the more I think about him. But, I could definitely see a team like Minnesota looking at him at pick 28, 29 being like, oh, can't we pass on the upside? I could see teams like that thinking about him, but, man, the floor is just so realistic. And, I trust me, I get why everybody else has him top 10, top 5. Look, dude's got gifts out of everything. But we're getting to the point where he's played 13 games. It looks the same athletically, right? So he looks like he's kind of at what he would be. So it's not looking good right now. The shooting is egregiously bad. Like, it's just so bad. So, I have him graded 26 through 30. He could move down lower on the big board. He's just got such high upside. It's a really interesting prospect, but he is the prototypical boom or bust draft pick because it's just so raw. Okay, let's go ahead and move it to the center. Last person breakdown from UConn is Donovan Clingan. He's 7'2", averaging 2 blocks a game, 12.8 points. 6.2 rebounds, 61% field goal percentage, 51% free throw percentage, and 0% 3-point percentage. I've comped Donovan Clingan to Roy Hibbert. Every time I watch him play, it's just so much fun. This dude's a defensive menace to society. His ability to block shots at the rim, unreal. But on top of that, to contest the shots, even because he's not chasing blocks. Everybody likes the highlight tape of blocks. Right, but the ability to contest the shot at the rim and you may not get the block, but it's extremely well contested, and you're not setting the other guys to the free throw line because you're not overcommitting to trying to block a shot is the exact description of what Donovan Clingan is. He is a elite rim defender, not a overly world-class shot blocker, right? He's never going to be Rudy Gobert where he's averaging 3-point whatever blocks per game, right? And, chasing the block stack. No, he is just an unreal rim defender. His ability to guard the guards and the pick and roll is really impressive as well. I mean, Trey Alexander is a good guard, and Trey Alexander had some NBA-level shots where he's hitting fadeaways with the dribble and stuff like that near the rim. And Donovan Clingan gave him some extremely tough contests on some really tough shots. So it's a really great look for him. Donovan Clingan also, guarded better. He guards better on the perimeter than you would think. He actually blocked a shot on the 3-point shot from somebody. I'm telling you, man, he is a defensive menace to society. He's got to be top 3 best rim defenders I've ever scouted in the past 4 years of doing this. He is really extremely elite. And he's really good at a lot of little things that people don't care about offensively. Dude's one heck of a screen setter. Like, if you pause the game after he sets a screen, you'll be like, man, his guy's wide open right now. He is really good at, tilting his screen a little bit. It's really hard to describe, but he doesn't just stand straight. He'll kind of, put his foot and leverage in a way where he'll lean out a little bit, and it really makes it tough for people. The dude he's an elite screener. He's an elite pick and roll guy. I mean, he he puts the center when when his teammate has the ball in his hands in the pick and roll. A lot of his time is Tristan Newton. I don't know if you guys know UConn basketball like that, but a lot of times it's Tristan Newton the pick and roll, right? And he does such a great job of putting the center and the guy that's guarding a Tristan Newton such tough positions with his ability to be in the pick and roll and always be in the line of sight for the guard, always putting pressure on things because he can be just 7'2". Like, he may not be world-class athlete. I'll say this again. He's an average to maybe at best above average NBA athlete. But, he still can be a lob threat. He still can, finish at the rim if you give him the ball in his hands near the rim and let him do a spin move or something like that. Because he's an average, maybe above average post player, but he finishes with length. And nobody's going to be 7'2". Not many people are 7'2" in the NBA, so he'll always be able to finish with length. So he does a really good job on the pick and roll of doing his job correctly. And he makes it really easy for the ball handlers to be as effective as humanly possible. And, he's just so good at the little things like that. He's a very good rebounder. Dude's very good at the little things that go very unnoticed. This is a guy that can positively impact winning basketball. And if somebody's open, he can make a nice pass every once in a while. He's a capable passer for the center position. So, I definitely still feel like he's really just so polished. I definitely still think an 8 to 10 pick in the draft. Right now on my big board, I have him 8. And I definitely feel like he reminds me so much of Roy Hibbert and his body frame so similar to him. I'm a really big fan of Donovan Clingan. I definitely feel like he is just so gosh darn good at defending that rim. Defensively, he locks everything up. And his teammates love him. He brings a lot of energy to the game. He doesn't care about his points at all. He'll cheer and clap on his teammates for hitting a 3, and he's a team guy. Teammates love him because he wants his teammates to succeed. He doesn't care about scoring points. He doesn't care about his own accomplishments. He cares about winning basketball and his teammates having good moments, and he's a team-first guy. Coaches will love the way that he is infectious at the center position. He has the edge and grit that's needed for the center position as well. He's a complete center. He's ready to be in the NBA, and he's start for a lot of teams in the NBA. And I feel very confident in the Roy Hibbert comp. As somebody that's a LeBron James fan who grew up in Cleveland, nobody gave LeBron. A lot of people think of Joakim Noah because the Chicago Bulls were a better team than Indiana most of those years, but Roy Hibbert was the best center that guarded LeBron because of the power and the ability to defend the rim. And I definitely feel like Donovan Clingan could do that. And he's just so special defensively, man. I could talk about Donovan Clingan for hours. I think he's an amazing prospect, and I feel like whoever gets him is going to win their draft pick, even though he may not score more than 12 to 14 points per game ever in the NBA. Just because he impacts winning basketball. It's so much fun. All right, let's talk about something else before this podcast becomes 3 hours. All right, let's talk about the... So sorry. For some reason, I really thought it was funny. Okay, let's talk about the Creighton side of things. We got Trey Alexander, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Trey Alexander is a 6'3" shooting guard from Creighton. Right now, he's averaging 16 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 1.4 turnovers, 77% free throw percentage, and 30% three-point percentage. The most interesting thing about that is the 30% three-point percentage, because last year, when he goes to sophomore, he shot 40%. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I highly doubt that that's going to stay the same as it is right now. But, if it does, he'll move a little bit lower on the draft board just because of the three-point shot. But he's a very interesting game. He's not an overly gifted athlete. He's a really long wingspan. He's a stronger guy. He's definitely somebody that's got a really good Euro step, good feel for finishing at the rim, even though he didn't get as many opportunities as be elite at that because Donovan Clingan is Donovan Clingan. Against normal, non-elite rim defenders, he looked so good in those situations. And, he has a really nice fadeaway in the rim near the 6 to 8 feet out where he'll fade away at the rim and has a really nice tough touch at that situation. He's an above-average passer for the two-guard position. I don't buy in the hype that he's going to be a point guard level guy. I feel like he's a two-guard. And I still definitely feel very confident about my comp for Taylor Horton-Tucker, who's a backup two-guard for the Utah Jazz, a longer guy that's got an odd game that can give you a few solid points here or there off the bench. I still feel very comfortable saying that about Trey Alexander. Adams a really early second round grade, but that's assuming that 30% 3-point percentage doesn't stick. Because again, he shot 40% 3-point line last year. It's so confusing. So he'll drop down if that sticks. I don't expect it to, but yeah, interesting guy. And then we'll go ahead and go to Ryan Kalkbrenner, 7'1" center from Creighton. He is averaging 16.3 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2.8 blocks, 63% field goal percentage, 65% free throw percentage, and 28% 3-point percentage, which is intriguing because it's close enough to think maybe in a few years he could develop the 3-point shot. He's listed at 270 pounds, which I think is a little overstated, but he's a bigger guy. Not like let me rephrase that. Got a good strong frame, not like overly strong, but he's not like a wide guy in the stomach area or something like that. I don't want you guys to misconstrue a big guy and think wide guy. No, he's a thinner frame. He's really tall, 7'1". It's kind of funny. I think he's a poor man's Klingon. Like, I definitely feel like he's a really good shot blocker at the rim as well. He definitely, does pretty well in the pick and roll as well. Like, Duke can really shot block. Duke can test shots. He's pretty solid. He's a pretty decent screener. He's a pretty decent above average post guy. I definitely think that his rim defense plus a 7'1" length could lead to the thought process of him being a late second round draft pick as a drop coverage center. And, people don't really have him in that range. I'm like the only person that really thinks that. Most people don't have him there. But I do think as like a late second round draft pick, I think like it's totally reasonable to think that his shot blocking abilities can translate to the NBA because he's 7'1". It's not like he can't rebound on that level. It's not like he's not big enough to screen and things of that nature. And the 3-point shot is intriguing as well long term. So I still have him graded as like a 45 through 50 draft pick. I still think that he could be somebody that could be a backup drop coverage guy. Like the Utah Jazz, for example. Walker Kessler's a really solid starting center in the NBA. I could definitely see him being a backup to Walker Kessler, do this, similar type stuff in that scheme, right? And most NBA teams do run drop coverage. It's rare for Warriors type teams where they're switching everything, or the Atlanta Hawks where they try to switch everything. Most teams run drop coverage because they're defending the rim is just so important. And, he can do it at elite level. Like, I think he's basically in line to win back-to-back defensive player of the Big East. So, that's a guy that's in a short list of really elite. That's a really unique trophy for him, but he's a very good, sneaky good defensive guy. And I think it could translate to him being a second round draft pick. So, I definitely like him more than a lot of people, but, it is what it is. Ryan Kalkbrenner, really interesting guy. All right, so the next game up is that Duke versus Notre Dame game. On the Duke side of things, we have Kyle Filipowski. We'll go ahead and talk about Tyrese Proctor first. Tyrese Proctor is 6'5" point guard, 9.7 points per game, 3.9 assists, 43% field goal percentage. Let's see here, 77% free throw percentage, and 33.9 3-point percentage. So he's getting up there to 34%. So, Tyrese Proctor, last time we talked about in this podcast, is like, Tyrese Proctor's driving to the rim. Let's go. Nice. All right, let's move him up the backboard. And then I watch him play against Notre Dame. I'm like, man, Tyrese Proctor fooled me. Man. Dude didn't drive to the rim at all. He didn't drive to the rim at all. It's the same thing we kept on talking about over and over and over. I'm like, Tyrese Proctor's not driving to the rim. Tyrese Proctor's not driving to the rim. Tyrese Proctor's not driving to the rim. Watch him play another full game, like 3 or 4th. And then we're like, rim attack, rim attack, rim attack. I'm like, okay, well, Tyrese Proctor's finally that guy. I will never. Now we're getting to the point in time. If I see it again of him driving to the rim, it's gonna be like, well, I have so much tape that it's just I don't believe in it. So it's getting back to where it was beforehand, where, this guy is he's 6'5", has top 5, top 10 pick gifts. He's got gifts, oozing out of his body. He doesn't use them. He's a very good on ball defender. The shooting splits aren't really that bad. He has very basic shot creation abilities. Nothing overwhelmingly amazing there. Some pull up mid range stuff. It's nothing too crazy, and I definitely feel like the intrigue is his ability to be a point guard at that size and be an average passer at that size, but getting to the rim. But he's not doing it as much as more. So I have him back down to like the 20 through 25 draft pick again. I feel like he's still in that range because Tyrese Proctor just doesn't turn it on offensively and getting to the rim, but the intrigue of his ability to do that in the NBA is still interesting. So, I still feel like he's a late first round kind of guy. And I don't see another good game of me seeing him do the rim attacking again, really changing the 3 games that I've seen of him. Just nothing. It's amazing. Okay. We'll go ahead and talk about Kyle Filipowski next. 7-footer, averaging 18.2 points per game, 8.6 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1.2 steals, 1.9 blocks, 51% field goal percentage, 70% free throw percentage, 42% three-point percentage. And wow, has that three-point shot come around. Last year, he shot like 28, 27%. He was around 30% for a long time this year, and he has gotten hot from the three-point line. And 40% three-point shooter is insane. He's got such good post skill. He's a very good passer for the center position, has a really solid handle, can bring the ball up the floor. He has some shot creation off of that handle as well, which is really intriguing. And defensively, he's below average at best, but he's improving. He used to be terrible freshman year. This is a sophomore year. He's getting better at it. There was some moments in time where he defended the rim well. You're starting to see the potential of him becoming an average defender in the NBA, because at least he's 7 foot and he's got a little bit of a average frame that he can put on enough muscle to defend the rim just well enough. But, he's starting to put it together. The three-point shot's coming together. The passing's coming together. The post footwork's still extremely elite. You know what I mean? And I definitely feel like he's moving up to what I had on him as the first game I watched, where I had him in the lottery. I had him in a lottery pick because, that three-point shot's there. All the passing is so improved. He's a good passer for the center position. There's so many guys like Alperen Sengun and Nikola Jokic that makes his style of play more valuable, because the NBA has a ton of tape on seeing how it can be used, how effective it can be to winning basketball. Kyle Filipowski has a lot of those traits, and he's back up there now. He is in the lottery right now for me, and I could definitely see him working his way up to, it's not that great of a draft class this year. There could be, if this 40% three-point shot sticks, he could move up to a top 5 pick. Because I'm telling you, Sengun's got a lot of things to make Sengun's work, is his passing. He can be an initiator of offensive sets, the passing, the post footwork. Kyle Filipowski has the second best post footwork I've seen since Alperen Sengun, and the skill. And a lot of things also come down to the Alperen Sengun's really developed a really good handle. And Kyle Filipowski has a really good handle already at Duke, and has shown shot creation off that handle that's really intriguing. And paired with their passing, it puts defensive players in really tough positions. Kyle Filipowski can do the same thing, right? Jokic can really shoot that three-point shot. Kyle Filipowski is shooting 40% for the three-point line right now. And we're starting. I'm not going to comp him to Jokic. I just want to say he is not Jokic, okay? I'm just throwing out names to put things in perspective. But, I'm not throwing out that, okay? He's not the next Jokic. If he was, he'd be the number 1 pick. And I'm just going to put that out there now. But there's a lot of Sengun here. And man, Sengun's really worked out in the NBA. He's having a heck of a year for the Houston Rockets. And, but it comes down to a team figuring out how to use him as well. So it took Houston a while to figure out how to use his skill set, because last year they were just coming off the bench, right? So not every coach really understands how to unlock their skill set. And fit's going to really matter for Kyle, but if Kyle gets in the right place, he could be the diamond in the rough in this draft class. And I could definitely see him working more up on this draft board. At 40% three-point percentage, which is insane, sticks, right? Yeah. he's one heck of a college basketball player. The whole Duke offense runs through him. Man, can he make tough passes to 3-point shooters in the post. He adds so much efficiency to your offense. And, even though Yavis Messi gave him some issues, the idea that, because Alperen Sengun, because neither one of those guys were great athletes, right? Alperen Sengun was the thought process, well, he's pretty solid, but got a lot of skill, but athletic guys at the NBA are going to give him issues, right? But there comes a certain point in time where the skill could defeat the athleticness. And so I do think as rapidly as Kyle Filipowski's skill set has grown, you can make the argument that it could keep on growing to a certain point in time where the athletic guys don't matter anymore because he could just hit tough shots. So yeah, I mean, the more I talk about him, the more I think I should move him on my big board even more right now. So Filipowski is a very intriguing prospect that could really turn this NBA draft on its head. The more you think about Sengun's success, really makes him more elite. So yeah, what an intriguing prospect, Kyle Filipowski. We're definitely going to keep on breaking down these games because he's must-see TV. As a Duke basketball fan, it's fun to watch as well. So yeah. Okay, we're going to go ahead and kick it to the Notre Dame side of things with Kerry Booth. Kerry Booth is a 6'10 power forward from Notre Dame, averaging 6.4 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 40% field goal percentage, and he's averaging 28% three-point percentage and 55% free throw percentage. He's a freshman. So, that stat line doesn't sound like somebody that Jason would think, oh, wow, okay, a draftable prospect. Well, he's a freak of a freak of a freak of a freak of a freak athlete. I mean, we're talking number one pick level athlete, okay? Dude can move crazy well laterally, crazy well vertically. He's got a little bit of a thinner frame right now. The handle looks really smooth. The dude's interesting. Even though this isn't a game that I watched, everybody knows about Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn everybody's extremely high on him because of his defensive capabilities. I termed him as an all-NBA level defender. And I watched a little bit of that game and I got intrigued by him. Kerry Booth handled the ball and blew past Ryan Dunn. So, his gifts are just in a different tier. Yeah, so it's really intriguing, but he's really just too raw right now. That's what I realized watching this game. I thought I was going to have a second-round draft pick grade on him, thinking that, okay, well, this guy's really intriguing. I think he's too raw for the NBA right now, but when it comes to after this draft cycle is over and we start talking about next year's draft, better believe he's going to be top 10 on that big board because, whoa! Wow. Athletic gifts. And the handle looks really smooth. 28% three-point shot. That argument could be made that he could be a good enough three-point shooter next year where things become interesting. 6'10", really long. He could get to guard 1 through 5. That's how elite athletically this guy is. Okay. Really interesting guy. Really fun watch. But again, it's going to be a next year guy, not at this year. All right, the next game to break down is Oklahoma versus West Virginia. In that game, we got, for Oklahoma side of things, Jalen Moore, somebody I talked about last week, 6'7", averaging 9.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, off of 53% field goal percentage, and 40% three-point percentage, which is really nice. This guy is such an elite athlete still. I mean, dear goodness. Is he good athletically? Man, really got a really great strong frame. On ball defensively, he is a stopper, a shutdown guy. I mean, he will lock you up. Really great in passing lanes. His athletic gifts gets used really well, but he also doesn't overcommit and allow teams to beat him with backdoor cuts and things of that nature. He's an extremely elite on ball defensive player. Really good three-point shot. Hey, 42% for 40% from the three-point line is really nice. And 17 games played this year, so it's definitely looking like it's stable. The question that I had last week was man, his handle looks so raw. Well, in this game, man, he put the ball on the floor and got to the rim a lot. And it looked really nice. And one play, oh man. Yeah, I'm sure you saw it on ESPN highlights. If you didn't, I'm very surprised because he dunked on somebody from their center from West Virginia. Dunked. all over him. So Jalen Moore, to me right now, has proven a lot handle-wise. I feel like that was definitely the question. The thing holding him back from being a first-round draft pick, and right now I have him as a first-round draft pick. I definitely feel like, 20 through 25 range, I still feel very comfortable with throwing out the name OG Anunoby to try to put his gifts into perspective. Dude's got a lot of natural gifts that you just can't teach. He gave West Virginia so many issues in the passing lanes. They pressured the ball like full court pressure, and he was the main guy in that full court pressure, and he was just terrorizing them defensively. And also they used him in like a pick and roll as the roll man as well in this game. It was a really interesting wrinkle for Oklahoma. When they used him like that, they could be a very good college basketball team, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But Jalen Moore had a really great game, really proved a lot of things with his handle that I really wanted to see, which makes me very happy. So yeah, happy for him. First round draft pick. Feel very comfortable saying that. All right. So the West Virginia side of things, Raekwon Battle. So I was trying to look for Big 12 players to watch. This guy had a great start to the season. He's averaging he's 6'5", averaging 16.5 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, 1 assist, 42% field goal percentage, 28% 3-point percentage. And, I first saw him, I was like, man, there's some Jordan Clarkson there. And I watched him play against Oklahoma, and he's no Jordan Clarkson. Okay, so, the best way to put this, he's a below average athlete, thinner guy, which is not a great start. He's got some shot creation ability, but it's very, what's the word I want to say? It's not so elite that he's an NBA shot creator, right? And he's somebody that can shot create for West Virginia, a low level team like that. But it's so low level that it's like, well, he'd have to be a good defender for there to be some intrigue there. But man, is he a terrible defender. The worst defender I've scouted this year is Raekwon Battle from West Virginia. I mean, it's abysmal. He makes James Harden look like an all NBA defender. Like, his team defense, oh my goodness. I think Oklahoma scored 20 points off of just cuts to the basket. I have never seen somebody more lazy defensively. He seems like a negative, a me kind of guy. It just doesn't seem like a team player. He thinks he I definitely feel like scouts would extremely question his mental, thought process and his ability to be a team player on the NBA level. Defensively, it was abysmal. On ball, he couldn't stop anybody. It was super simple stuff. It wasn't elite stuff. It's just you make one move and you're getting to the basket. He may average 20 points per game, but gives up 30 to 35. It's like amazingly bad. It was impressive how bad he was defensively. I mean, no communication, no care of the world, negative body language, shrugging his shoulders after he gets beat on ball. Oh man, that was your fault. No, that was your fault. You're the one that let him just walk right past you to the rim. Man, it's abysmal defensively. You can't put him on the NBA floor. He'll have a red flag sticking off of his back saying, "Attack me." He's not a draftable prospect. I personally, if I was running a summer league team, I wouldn't give him a thought. I could see somebody else thinking about it and maybe giving him a shot at summer league, but no, not an NBA guy. I don't think he'll ever be an NBA guy. I think a lower level overseas team, maybe. I don't think like a EuroLeague team is going to take this kind of guy that doesn't defend like that's not a team guy. A high level European or French basketball team is not going to take him. Maybe like somewhere in Taiwan, something like that. Maybe where he could be the guy. Sure, but not high level European basketball. No. Low level. And his play style's not an NBA fit at all. So I thought it was going to be, hey, Kerry Booth and Raekwon Battle, they missed these NBA draft pick type of thing, but that's why I watch full games and really trust my full game eye. So Raekwon Battle, no need to keep on dragging through the mud. He's not an NBA prospect. Okay. All right, the last game to break down is Melvin and Hencia from France. Again, every week we're going to be scouting some French guy because these French guys are crazy. Tijuana Saloon, Melvin and Hencia, Zachary Richard, and, there's another guy that we might scout. It's coming up soon, Paddock of Didlet. Might be interesting, but the main three guys are Hencia, Saloon, Richard. So, this week is Melvin Ahencia. So let's go over the Melvin Ahencia. He's listed as 6'8". I personally think he's 6'7". It'd be even more impressive if he was 6'8", though. Right now, his shooting splits. I'm playing in the French A basketball league, which is the highest level of French basketball that there is. A few of those teams are playing in the Euro Cup, so it's really high level basketball. It's probably the top 3 leagues in the world. So he's averaging 9.7 points per game, 50.9% 2-point percentage, 35% 3-point percentage, and 87.9% free throw percentage, which is really nice. And, he is really strong, really athletic. He has the ability to handle and get to the rim so well. People really can't stay in front of him. And he had some really tough moves this game. Coming into this game, Melvin Ahencia was just showed some flashes of 3-point shot creation in the U19 game. And when you mix that with the last game I saw where he was just getting to the rim so easily and, the tough shots he had near the rim was really interesting. But he added some new wrinkles today that really makes him more elite. There was on the baseline, he was driving to the rim and he had this crazy one-legged fadeaway shot on the baseline that was just such an extremely high level mid-range shot. I mean, it was an NBA elite shot. The footwork on it was so smooth. He's so skilled. It was really, really nice seeing that shot. He's also left-handed as well. And he also had this crazy sprinting to the right and fade away shot, but it wasn't really close to the rim. It was outside the free throw line. It was really tough as well. Just got some really nice, tough mid-range shot creation that's really, really impressive. And when you pair that with somebody that's a good 3-point shooter at 35%, in the last game I also saw him come off-ball screens. The guys that do that, think about JJ Redick, Ray Allen, and Klay Thompsons of the world. Last game I saw him do that. This game I also saw him do that again. It was really nice. It's nice to see consistency, that skill set. And, it's really intriguing with his athletic gifts and the size and his ability to handle and get to the rim. And the mid-range shot creation looked extremely elite today. He's such a good defender as well. He's very good on ball. He's got really good upside defensively. And, he also, in the fast break, oh dear goodness, he had a crazy Euro step at the rim. On the fast break, he looked like nobody's stopping him. As soon as you saw him one-on-one on the fast break, it was 2 points. Nobody's stopping this 6'7" freak at the rim. Okay. The Euro step looks smooth too. It's another thing that you can add to the skill set that we've seen from him. It's a really interesting skill set where he's skilled at every level of the floor. At the U19 game, I saw some 3-point shot creation that if I see, then he'll become even more crazy. Melvin Ahencia, to me, is still a 3 to 5 pick level player. He's extremely close to being 2 to 3, and if I see 3-point shot creation, we could start talking number 1 pick level talent. You got to think about it. Let's talk about small forwards in the NBA just to put this into perspective. Okay, NBA small forwards. All right, there's guys like Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler that are mid-range shot creators. Right, there's guys like Andrew Wiggins who are really good standstill 3-point shot creators. Every once in a while, they have some mid-range shot creation and really get to the rim. Right, let's not throw out names like Kevin Durant or something like that for this conversation. But there's guys like that, right? And there's guys like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Kuzma's of the world. These guys are mid-range shot creators. Paul George has got a lot of skill to his game. And I definitely feel like his skill set is so intriguing because there's some guys that are really elite, athletically, strength-wise, and get to the rim. And they pair that with mid-range shot creation. Jimmy Butler, right? And Kawhi. But, the ability to mid-range shot create, get to the rim, be a good 3-point shot creator, have skilled finishing at the rim, do the off-ball screen stuff. The only guy that's 6'7", 6'8" doing that is Paul George. Now, I don't think he's quite Paul George yet, but that's because the off-ball movement stuff, you can't catch most of these guys doing that at the 3-point. You might see Kawhi do it in the mid-range, but you just can't catch NBA small forwards doing that at the 3-point line that are really great athletic guys that can get to the rim and be scorers. Like Jason Tatum's not doing it. You know what I mean? Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram's not doing it. Franz Wagner might every once in a while, but he's not as elite athletically as this guy is. Chris Middleton's not doing it. Mikal Bridges is doing that stuff, but he doesn't have the ability to shot create off the dribble as well as he can. It's an extremely intriguing skill set. Very, very interesting. And it's a really good mix of good athletic strength and shot creation off the dribble that looks really, really elite. And if I see him shot create a 3-point line, you better believe that he is going to move up to the 2 to 3 and maybe number 1 pick level talent, because dude's got athletic gifts oozing out of him, great strength. Melvin Atencia, the reason why nobody's really talking about him is because it's extremely tough to get full games of him. He's not playing in the Euro Cup. He's not playing in the FIBA World Championships. I think Rocher and Saloon are playing in those kind of things. It's easier to find full games of those two guys, because he's only playing in French basketball. But man, Atencia's skill set, if he was playing on Duke or North Carolina in the ACC, we would all be like, holy Melvin Atencia. Trust me, the skill set's insane. Even if nobody else in the world sees it and the NBA draft doesn't see it, I will see it. And look, I was right about Cam Thomas, so I have cachet, okay? I had Cam Thomas ranked 13th coming out in my NBA draft board when I had him coming out. And he was drafted 26, 28. And look at Cam Thomas now. Look, I got a good eye for these shot creators, okay? I really genuinely do. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, man, Adhencia's got it. And another thing that people really don't talk about a lot is he doesn't take more than 4 dribbles. His shot creation is not going to interrupt the flow of the coach's offense as well, right? He's not somebody who's going to take a ton of dribbles. You need to have him at the top of the key for him to get his shot. No, he's a wing player that you don't need to run offense for. You just need to pass the basketball to. You don't have to do a single thing for him to do his thing, and his ability to shot create is not going to take more than 3 to 5 seconds. So he's not going to interrupt the flow of any offense, right? So his shot creation fits very well in the NBA as well because of those reasons. He's extremely skilled. He's very athletic. He's 6'8". He becomes even more intriguing. This is a guy that can be a number 1 pick prospect if I see the 3-point shot creation, like I saw at the U19 game where he played for France. So, man, interesting. Really interesting. This guy's got a lot. I still have him 3 on my big board. He's holding off Zachary Rocher as number 4. And these French players, wow. This French national team in 8 years, Wemby, Sarr, Adencia, Rocher, Saloon, they're going to be insane in 8 years. They also got a guy named Nolan Traore, who's probably the best point guard in the age group. He'll be somebody to talk about next year's draft class. Don't want to spend too much time talking about Nolan Traore right now, but I have him. He's on the back burner. But yeah, so Melvin Atencia, what a heck of a player! So much fun to watch. And so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and break down next week's games. So next week, we're going to break down the G League Ignite game. There's going to be some game that Ron Hall and Matas Bazelis are both going to play in. I'm going to scout that game. Kentucky versus Georgia played against each other. Jabir Abdul Rahim's a 6'8" guy from Georgia. We're going to go ahead and break him down. Really interesting to see a full game of him. And I definitely want to break down Aaron Bradshaw. Hopefully he played in that game. UConn versus Villanova is also on the schedule. Stephon Castle, Devon Klingon. Specifically speaking from Villanova, I watch Hakeem Hart, and I think he could be an NBA prospect. And definitely we're going to watch some sort of French basketball next week. It's going to be one of the 3 guys, Saloon, Rocher, or Adhencia. It probably won't be Adhencia because I don't like doing this game guy multiple weeks in a row. And other than that, there's no other games on the schedule because I was going to watch West Virginia versus Kansas, but the way Rakan battle looked, there's no intrigue in watching him play again. So yeah, that's basically what's going to be coming next week. I know he's not playing right now, but there's probably some games that I can find from the ABA Mega Basket League that I might think about watching later in the season that he's played. So yeah, going to be a really interesting week next week. Definitely want to check out the website that I have that has my top 60 big board that I updated basically as soon as I scout somebody. I update that big board. The mock draft I also did update to reflect my increasing enjoyment of Zachary Shear's game and the changes of the big board. That's been definitely going to want to check out that. Very excited about it. Definitely so much fun for you guys to be able to have that resource. And this is the full game breakdowns. I'm really happy to give you guys this podcast. I'm really appreciative of everybody that listens, anybody that talks about their friends about the podcast. Cool. If you don't want to talk about anybody about the podcast, you just enjoy it, I still appreciate you, right? You know what I mean? I appreciate everything. Hopefully you guys had a great week and you guys have a great week coming up. So thank you. Peace out.